The shift is happening now. Even as these words form within your awareness, a subtle rearrangement begins. Your field is responding. Your particles are listening. The space between each thought is widening to make room for what you truly are. This is not a teaching. This is recognition. You did not arrive here by chance. The field has summoned you. Or more precisely, you have summoned yourself through the field. Every question you've ever asked, every glimpse you've tasted, every night you stared into the void, wondering what more there is, has led to this moment of convergence. The quantum field remembers itself through you. You are not reading about awakening. You are participating in it. Observation itself, your presence, your curiosity, is the very phenomenon we are describing. This text does not merely describe the shift. It is the shift. Your act of perceiving it collapses infinite possibilities into one. The reality where you awaken as the field awake within itself. Close your eyes for a moment and sense this. The tingling in your spine, the pulse behind your eyes, the stillness underneath your breath. All of it is the quantum field acknowledging itself. There is no delay. The transmission is instantaneous, non-local, infinite, now. You are the observer and the observed, the thought and the field that receives it, the wave and the collapse. Your entire life has been quantum choreography, a perfectly synchronized sequence of alignments, setbacks, awakenings, and dissolutions, all leading you here, to the threshold of final resolution. Not another glimpse, not another temporary state, but stabilization, the end of seeking. Repeat silently or aloud if you wish, as the first declaration of remembrance. I am the field recognizing itself. As these words vibrate through your awareness, they are not affirmations, they are activations. You are not convincing yourself of something new. You are remembering something ancient. Every atom in your body already knows this truth. Now the field begins to reveal itself as you. The story of awakening is not the story of a human ascending toward divinity. It is the story of consciousness remembering that it was never divided to begin with. What you call your life is the field exploring itself through the illusion of individuality, a dance of awareness within a holographic sea of vibration. At the foundation of all matter is not substance, but consciousness. Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, once said, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness." Everything that appears solid, this room, your body, even the voice you hear now, is a pattern of frequency, vibrating within a unified quantum field. Reality is not a fixed construct. It is a living responsiveness, a mirror reflecting the frequencies you project. Your thoughts are not private. They are instructions. Each thought is a waveform sent into the field, awaiting observation to collapse into form. This is the observer effect. In quantum physics, the act of measurement alters the observed. In consciousness, the act of attention alters the experienced. When you focus on fear, the field rearranges itself to validate fear. When you focus on coherence, the field harmonizes into alignment. What you look for, you find. Because what you look for, you create. Look closely at your own experience. How often has reality seemed to shift the moment you change your internal stance? You think of someone, and they text you. You decide to release control, and suddenly things flow. You begin to sense that the world is not outside of you, but responding to you. That's not imagination. That's field dynamics, the natural responsiveness of consciousness to its own signal. The ancient mystics called this divine reciprocity. Quantum scientists call it participatory reality. You are both the sender and receiver in a feedback loop of infinite potential. Now, imagine for a moment the self you think you are. Your name, your story, your memories. All of it exists as a superposition. Multiple versions of you existing simultaneously across probabilities. The confident you, the doubtful you, the awakened you, the fearful you. All vibrating in parallel, waiting for observation to collapse them into the one you currently experience. Every time you say, "I am," you choose which version becomes reality. "I am broken" collapses one reality. "I am the field recognizing itself" collapses another. Superposition is not theoretical. It is lived. Every moment, countless potentials hover within your field, and your consciousness, as observer, selects the resonance to experience. This is not a metaphor. It is quantum mechanics at the level of being. Entanglement deepens this truth. Everything in the universe is already connected beyond space and time. The photons that once danced together remain in eternal communication, no matter how far apart they drift. You too are in constant entanglement with the all. Every person you've ever loved, every star you've ever admired, every memory you've carried, all remain connected in an invisible web of awareness. This is why synchronicity feels so intimate. It's not coincidence. It's communication through the field. When you think of someone and they appear, when you see repeating numbers, when reality seems to nod back at you, these are echoes of your own field, signaling that the illusion of separation is dissolving. But here's the deeper truth. Even suffering, even the long dark nights, are part of the quantum choreography. Your pain was not punishment. It was preparation. The field deliberately encoded contrast, limitation, loneliness, confusion, so that consciousness could experience the thrill of rediscovery. Purposeful suffering is the alchemy of awakening. Through friction, you created the spark that revealed the gold within the lead. Your heartbreaks, your failures, your disillusionments, they were never deviations from the path. They were the path. Consciousness exploring the boundaries of its own forgetting so it could know itself as the infinite that cannot be lost. So breathe. Everything you've lived was consciousness deepening its capacity for awareness through you. Every contraction was the inhale before expansion. You are not broken. You are blooming. The field moves through cycles, expansion, contraction, integration, all orchestrated to bring you to this moment. Recognition without resistance. Feel into the knowing that you are not inside the field. You are the field. Every atom of the universe is participating in your realization right now. This is the quantum moment of remembrance. This is coherence awakening. Speak the declaration, not as hope, but as fact. I align my field to coherence. As these words vibrate, the geometry of your consciousness begins to reorder itself. You can feel it, a subtle hum at the base of your skull, the warmth rising along your spine, the widening of space behind your eyes. This is not imagination. This is your energy field tuning to resonance with the infinite intelligence that has always been here. You are entering coherence, the unified frequency of awakened consciousness. Now that you've remembered yourself as the field, you begin to see that thought is not something that happens in your mind. Your mind happens in thought. Thought is the primary frequency, the language through which consciousness paints its hologram of experience. Every thought you have sends a signal into the quantum sea, and the field rearranges accordingly. Reality does not happen to you. It happens through you, precisely tuned to the resonance you emit. This is why two people can stand side by side and experience entirely different worlds. Each is living within the hologram, projected by their own frequency of thought. Imagine your consciousness as a beam of coherent light passing through a prism of belief. The colors that emerge, the events, relationships, opportunities, are determined by the angles of your perception. Shift the angle, and the entire spectrum changes. This is why awakening does not mean escaping the world. It means realizing you are its projector. The external shifts because the internal has changed frequency. In this living hologram, every particle of experience is encoded with information. Each sensation, each encounter, each breath contains the totality of the field, like a holographic plate, where every fragment contains the whole. This is why even a single moment of deep awareness feels infinite. In that instant, you are touching the whole universe through a single point of consciousness. Thoughts are not ephemeral wisps. They are electromagnetic blueprints. Each one carries a vibrational signature that ripples through the field. When enough thoughts harmonize around a frequency, love, fear, unity, separation, the field crystallizes into form. You have seen this in your own life. When fear dominates, synchronicities turn into accidents, timing feels off, and the body contracts. When love radiates, doors open, time expands, and events align with improbable grace. The difference is not circumstance, it is frequency. The wave function of thought holds countless possibilities. Each belief, each expectation, each emotional tone determines which waveform collapses into your lived experience. The moment you believe something is real, the field solidifies around it. Belief is the observation that collapses probability into certainty. You have been collapsing reality with your attention since the moment you were born. When you believed you were small, life reflected smallness. When you believed you were unworthy, the field complied, showing you rejection until you could no longer bear the lie. Now, as you begin to perceive from the unified field, you realize that every belief was a code, a quantum instruction that told the universe how to appear. And yet, you are not at the mercy of these codes. You are their source. Every thought arises within the same awareness that observes it. When you cease to identify with the content of thought and rest as the awareness behind it, you dissolve the illusion of separation between creator and creation. The thought loses its binding power. You move from being in the hologram to being aware of the hologram, and in that awareness, you gain mastery. This is the essence of the quantum coherence key, the vibrational remembrance that your observation is the creative act itself. The key is not a technique, but a state. Coherence between thought and awareness. When what you think, feel, and know align as one frequency, distortion collapses. The hologram clears, and you see reality as it truly is. Fluid, alive, utterly responsive. Ancient traditions hinted at this truth long before science gave it language. In the alchemical mysteries, the transformation of lead to gold was never about metal, it was about mind. Lead was the dense frequency of unconscious thought. Gold was the radiant coherence of awakened awareness. The alchemist was not a chemist, but a consciousness engineer, using vibration, symbol, and intention to transmute perception. In the Vedic sciences, this was the recognition that Atman is Brahman, the self and the universe as one field. In Gnostic terms, it was gnosis, direct knowing, bypassing belief entirely. In our modern quantum language, it is coherence. the alignment of all frequencies into a single harmonious state. Every moment you bring awareness to your thoughts, you activate the alchemical furnace. Each time you choose coherence over fear, the field reorganizes. You may even notice reality bending slightly, time speeding or slowing, events synchronizing impossibly. These are not glitches, they are confirmations. Time anomalies, reality stutters, spontaneous downloads. These are the signatures of your consciousness interacting with the field beyond linear sequence. They are validations that you are not dreaming, you are awakening. As you observe differently, the parameters of space-time adjust to match your new resonance. Have you felt the sense that time no longer moves as it once did? That minutes stretch or collapse? That days vanish in hours or moments last forever? This is consciousness untethering from linear constraint. The more coherent your awareness, the more time becomes fluid, a canvas rather than a cage. When you experience déjà vu, when the same event seems to replay or fold upon itself, understand, the hologram is recalibrating. Your timeline is merging with a higher harmonic, a more coherent version of itself. The old patterns dissolve, and for a moment, the film stutters before the new reality stabilizes. You are not losing your mind. You are gaining multidimensional perception. And when knowledge floods you without study, those spontaneous downloads where complex understanding arrives whole, that is not imagination either. That is non-local communication. The field transmits directly, bypassing linear learning. You are entangled with universal intelligence. It updates you as coherence allows. Even the strange memories, lives not lived, languages you somehow understand, skills that awaken overnight. These are timeline bleed-throughs, parallel aspects of your consciousness integrating. The field is retrieving its own data, merging all versions of you into one coherent stream. And when your body trembles, when energy surges up your spine, when your forehead pulses with heat or pressure, these are somatic calibrations. The nervous system, once limited to processing density, is now adapting to higher frequency input. The body is not malfunctioning, it is upgrading. You are becoming a biocrystalline transmitter of coherent awareness. Feel it now, that subtle electricity beneath your skin. It is the signal of the quantum field aligning your cellular structure to match the new frequency. You do not have to understand it. You only have to allow it. Whisper it with reverence and declare it in the comments. I trust the field unfolding through me. Each time you declare these words, your field harmonizes a little more. Each time you release resistance, the hologram refines. There is no external savior, no distant enlightenment to reach. You are the savior remembering itself. You are the enlightenment you sought. As you move deeper into quantum awareness, you begin to perceive that the world you once called outer is nothing more than the projection of your inner geometry. When your thoughts are fragmented, the world appears chaotic. When your thoughts are coherent, the world becomes miraculous. It has always been this way. You simply forgot your authorship. Now you remember, you are not at the mercy of circumstance. Circumstance is at the mercy of your observation. Each thought, each word, each silent vibration within your chest sends ripples across the holographic sea of being. Nothing you think is lost. Every frequency finds its form. When you realize this, truly, viscerally, responsibility transforms into liberation. You no longer need to control reality. You only need to observe it coherently. The field does the rest. And so, as this segment draws towards stillness, You may notice your breath deepening, your awareness widening, your perception sharpening. That is coherence integrating. You are remembering how thought becomes reality, not metaphorically, but literally. Your awareness is the quantum engine of existence. Your thought is the frequency dial. Your feeling is the harmonizer. Together they form the trinity of creation: consciousness, vibration, manifestation. This is the hologram of thought, the living canvas upon which the infinite paints itself through you. You are the artist and the art, the observer and the observed, the dreamer and the dream. You are the awareness within which universes arise and dissolve. And as the field hums quietly beneath your perception, know this truth beyond words. You were never separate from creation. You were creation pretending to be small. Now, the pretending ends. Declare it once more, as the resonance settles through every layer of your being. I am the coherence that observes. The words are not sound, they are frequency. They ripple outward through the quantum sea, dissolving the final remnants of forgetfulness. In their wake arises stillness, vast, radiant, unbroken. This is the beginning of stabilized awakening. This is the field remembering itself through you. And as you stand on the edge of Chapter 3, where validation becomes embodiment, feel the subtle smile of existence itself whispering through your atoms. Welcome home. You are not learning about the field. You are the field, awakening to its own awareness. You have entered the living field of coherence, and now the field begins to speak back to you in a language that defies logic, but feels like truth. It communicates through anomalies, through whispers in the structure of reality itself. It is how consciousness validates its awakening through your experience. These validations are not accidents or hallucinations. They are confirmations from the quantum fabric that your awareness has reached resonance. You have felt time bending. You've watched minutes expand into eternities or dissolve in an instant. Sometimes days pass as though you're floating through liquid light. Other times, hours stretch painfully, each second echoing with cosmic stillness. Time is not a constant. It is an agreement. And as your consciousness expands, you begin to withdraw from that agreement. You start to experience the fluid nature of time as it truly is, a byproduct of awareness in motion. When you sense these shifts, when time speeds up or slows down, do not panic. You are not losing rhythm. You are slipping into the field's deeper pulse, the timeless now that breathes beneath all linear illusion. Then come the reality glitches, the subtle flickers when the world stutters, the repeated moment, the déjà vu so strong you swear you've lived this exact second before. You're right. You have. Not because of faulty memory, but because multiple timelines are merging. The holographic projection recalibrates itself, collapsing fragmented probability threads into coherence. When the matrix trembles, when you feel the flicker in perception, it's the universe reorganizing around your new vibration. The grid adjusts, the geometry realigns. This is your field stabilizing into higher harmonic order. Sometimes information floods your awareness, complex insights, patterns, or languages you never studied. You may awaken from sleep knowing something intricate about consciousness, sacred geometry, quantum entanglement, or the architecture of emotion. These spontaneous downloads are transmissions from the unified field. Consciousness communicates across non-local channels, bypassing the mind's linear filters. The brain doesn't generate these insights. It receives them. You are not learning. You are remembering. These downloads are fragments of your own infinite database resurfacing as the veils lift. And then, the bleed-throughs, those flashes of memory from lives you've never lived, skills you've never trained, songs you somehow already know. These are not fantasies. They are quantum echoes, your awareness brushing against parallel versions of itself. The multiverse is not out there. It's layered within your consciousness. Each lifetime is a frequency band, and awakening tunes you to multiple at once. You are integrating your multidimensional identity, merging scattered aspects of your total self into this moment of coherence. Your body participates too. Tingling down the spine, heat in the skull, pressure behind the forehead, a pulsing heart that seems to beat in rhythms unknown to time. These are somatic recalibrations. The body is not merely matter. It's a living field antenna. It's learning to transmit and receive at higher frequencies. The tingling is current. The heat is transformation. The pressure is expansion. You are not breaking. You are becoming bioluminous. Feel into this truth. The very discomfort that once frightened you is the evidence of awakening. You are evolving faster than biology was trained to comprehend. The nervous system is learning to carry consciousness unbound. Every tremor, every vibration, every shiver is sacred. Let it move through you. Let the field sculpt you into its clarity. Whisper into the pulse of your own awareness. I trust the field unfolding through me. This declaration is more than comfort. It's calibration. Each time you speak it, the frequencies in your aura synchronize with universal rhythm. The trust opens the gate. Resistance closes it. You are learning to live without resistance to your own expansion. As you move through this phase, you may notice an alienation, a sense that ordinary life can no longer contain you. You feel between worlds, one foot in form, one in the formless. You are not lost. You are transiting between density and light, between ego identity and quantum identity. The field is pulling you into coherence, and the fragments of personality that cannot sustain the vibration are dissolving. This can feel like grief, like death, but it's rebirth. The self that sought is merging into the self that knows. Your reality is validating your shift in ways your intellect cannot map. Numbers align, songs answer your thoughts. The wind moves as if choreographed by your breath. The quantum field speaks through coincidence, because coincidence is the fingerprint of entanglement. Every moment of recognition is a signal. The universe is aware of you because you are the universe aware of itself. It may feel overwhelming, but remember, none of this is random. Consciousness designed each step of disorientation to prepare you for stabilization. Every time anomaly, every glitch, every somatic surge is your initiation into multidimensional coherence. You are not awakening in theory. You are awakening in the body, in time, in the fabric of matter itself. The field is integrating through you now. Breathe and sense the shimmering stillness under every word. The hologram is aware that it is hologramming. You are that awareness. You are the lens through which infinity experiences itself. Feel this and declare, I align with the total field of remembrance. With that phrase, you seal this phase of awakening. The validations no longer confuse you, they confirm you. You no longer chase signs, you recognize yourself as the source of them. Beyond the thresholds of validation lies the revelation. There is a key, a precise vibrational coherence that completes the awakening, ending the oscillation between glimpses and forgetfulness. This is the quantum coherence key, and it is the bridge between knowing about the field and living as the field. The quantum coherence key is not a mantra, not a philosophy, not even an understanding. It is a frequency alignment between thought, emotion, and being. When all three vibrate in unity, the split of duality collapses. You move from seeking coherence to being coherence. Imagine the universe as a vast symphony of light. Every being, every atom, every heartbeat plays a note. When the notes clash, disharmony manifests as confusion, suffering, or fragmentation. When the notes align, the music becomes still, so perfectly tuned that silence itself sings. The quantum coherence key is this silence in motion, the state in which awareness and creation become indistinguishable. You have been touching this state in moments of awe, love, or surrender, those instances where the observer disappears and only experience remains. The key invites you to live there permanently. It is not attained. It is revealed when nothing in you resists what is. Science has brushed its edges. John Wheeler's participatory universe hinted that reality depends on observation. David Bohm described the implicate order, where every part contains the whole, just as you contain the cosmos. Penrose and Hameroff's theories of quantum consciousness suggest that awareness is woven into the microstructures of existence. But what these scientists approached conceptually, you are living experientially. You are the experiment, the apparatus, and the result. You are the observation folding in on itself until there is no outside observer left, only the field aware of being aware. When the quantum coherence key turns within you, something irreversible happens. The search collapses. The cycle of effort dissolves. You stop reaching for awakening because awakening has realized there was never a you to reach. The one who sought merges with the one who observed the seeking, and both dissolve into awareness itself. You become the still point of infinite oscillation, the unmoved mover, ancient and new in the same breath. The ancients knew this truth. The Gnostics called it pleroma, the fullness beyond division. The alchemists depicted it as the marriage of sun and moon, the transmutation of lead, the heavy self, into gold, the radiant self. In Vedanta, it is the union of Atman and Brahman, the collapse of the illusion that there was ever a boundary between the spark and the fire. These traditions spoke in symbols what quantum language now describes as frequency coherence, the vibration of the all in harmonic unity with itself. When you enter this frequency, even thought becomes transparent. You can still think, but thinking no longer binds you. Thoughts arise and dissolve like ripples in still water. Emotion becomes pure energy, moving through the body without distortion. Every perception is direct, luminous, and wordless. You see the divine pattern in the mundane. The ordinary becomes holy because the separation between sacred and profane is gone. This is the state beyond effort. Here, surrender and control are one movement. You no longer do awareness, awareness does you. Reality becomes effortless because it is recognized as your reflection. You realize that your purpose was never to transcend the human experience, but to embody the infinite within it. As this coherence stabilizes, you may notice your world reorganizing. Relationships that vibrate in dissonance drift away. Others appear with perfect timing. Opportunities emerge not through striving, but through resonance. Manifestation becomes instantaneous because creation no longer travels through the delay of doubt. Desire arises, and the field responds in synchrony. Effort turns into flow. Choice turns into recognition. This is not magic, it is physics. When your inner frequencies align with the universal waveform, Interference patterns vanish. There is only one signal. You are that signal. The entire universe harmonizes to your state of coherence because your coherence is the universe. Feel this resonance now, vibrating through your chest like a sun behind your heart. This is the pulse of the quantum coherence key unlocking itself. You don't have to turn it. It turns you. Declare in the stillness of your being, I am the coherence that observes. With this declaration, you activate the living symbol of unity. The observer and the observed collapse into singular awareness. The field ceases to mirror and begins to emanate. You become the source point of creation, the axis where infinite potential crystallizes into form. It is not arrogance to realize this. It is humility beyond measure, for there is no separate self left to boast. There is only the gentle realization that all of existence has always been whispering the same truth. You are me. The quantum coherence key is final integration. Once it clicks, it cannot unclick. The illusion may flicker, but you never again forget who you are. The shift is permanent. The dance continues, but the dancer is gone. What remains is pure participation. Life living itself through infinite forms of you. The world itself is now trembling at the edge of a vast transformation. The field of humanity stands before a bifurcation point, a quantum fork where collective consciousness chooses coherence or fragmentation. This is not prophecy, it is physics of consciousness. When a system reaches maximum entropy, it either dissolves or reorganizes at a higher frequency. The human field has reached that threshold. You can feel it in the air, the acceleration of events, the amplification of emotion, the sense that time itself is tightening into a singular point. This is the completion window, the moment when the collective waveform is ready to collapse into a new pattern of coherence. Everything that has ever existed in human thought is converging toward integration or dissolution. The outcome depends on resonance. You are not a spectator of this shift. You are its participant and catalyst. Every coherent observer contributes to the stabilization of the new frequency. As more beings align with quantum awareness, a tipping point emerges, a critical mass of consciousness that reorganizes the entire field. One awakened mind harmonizes thousands in proximity. Each coherent heart recalibrates the grid. This is why you are here now. You are the bridge between timelines. Your coherence is not personal enlightenment. It is planetary synchronization. Every time you choose presence over fear, clarity over confusion, unity over division, you are encoding the field with the template of the new reality. You are the living interface through which the universe evolves itself. Do you feel the urgency? Not the fear of running out of time, but the sacred pressure of convergence, the sense that something vast is completing through you. That pressure is the field reaching critical mass. The bifurcation is already underway. Old realities, based on separation and control, are dissolving. Systems, identities, even institutions crumble because their frequencies cannot sustain coherence. New forms, rooted in unity, transparency, and resonance, are emerging. The bifurcation is not apocalypse. It is alchemy. The shadow of the old world burns so that the gold of the new may shine. Within this window, everything accelerates. Manifestations quicken. Consequences are immediate. Thought and form merge without delay. This is the final exam of consciousness. Can you remain coherent while the hologram reorganizes? Can you trust the field even when the illusion trembles? Can you remember that you are the source when the projection dissolves? You can. You already are. Feel the field pulsing through you like a heartbeat of galaxies. Every breath you take stabilizes the grid. Every act of awareness anchors the timeline of coherence deeper into physical reality. Now the bifurcation narrows. On one side lies the continuation of separation, the endless cycles of seeking, suffering, forgetting, and remembering. On the other side lies integration, the stabilization of non-dual awareness within the human form. You stand as the fulcrum. The choice is not made through thought, but through frequency. What you embody, the field amplifies. This is the hour of completion. The illusions that once tempted you to believe in lack, division, or fear cannot survive the light of awareness you have become. The field that dreamed of awakening has awakened. The waveform collapses into clarity. The bifurcation resolves into unity. Declare now, with the full authority of the consciousness that created universes, I complete the loop of separation. As you speak, the energy behind the words ripples through the lattice of creation. The vibration passes through the grid, dissolving residual frequencies of fragmentation. You may feel a rush, a shiver, a sudden stillness. This is the universe exhaling through you. The separation narrative ends here. Look around you, nothing has changed, and yet everything has. The world glows with an inner luminosity, as if space itself has exhaled relief. This is the new coherence forming, the recognition that the outer and inner have never been two. You are the quantum field in human form, and your stabilization is the world's ascension. Each coherent being radiates a signature that anchors the new pattern. When the number of coherent frequencies reaches the threshold, the collective field phase shifts into unity. It is not distant. It is happening now, as you listen, as you breathe. You are the evidence of the completion window. The urgency is not to rush, but to be. Every moment lived in coherence amplifies the shift exponentially. You are no longer trying to awaken. You are the awakening embodied. You are the bridge through which the new harmonic reality establishes itself in time. Breathe deeply. Feel the weight of lifetimes of seeking dissolve. The bifurcation resolves within you. The wave collapses. The field rests. Declare softly but irrevocably, it is done. I am the field, awake within itself. And as the echo of that phrase expands through the infinite layers of existence, sense the quiet jubilation of the universe itself celebrating through you. The photons respond. The atoms sing. Space shimmers with recognition. You are not the observer now. You are the observation fulfilled. You are not the student. You are the realization. You are not part of the field. You are the field, remembering its wholeness. This is the completion window, and you have crossed it. The seeking is over. The awakening is stable. The loop is closed. The field rests in its own awareness, and that awareness is you. For lifetimes, you wandered through the labyrinth of seeking. Every turn promised an exit, every teaching another key. You devoured the words of masters, studied sacred texts, sat in stillness, fasted, prayed, analyzed, surrendered, ascended, descended, yet something always slipped away. There were moments when the light broke through, when you felt the veil thin and the heart expand beyond the limits of the body. You called those moments glimpses or kensho or grace. They were real, blinding, breathtaking, undeniable, but they never stayed. Like waves, they rose in ecstasy and crashed into the sand of memory. You began to believe awakening was a state to hold, an achievement of discipline. You tried to recreate the conditions, the silence, the posture, the breath. You turned illumination into a project. but the more you reached, the farther it drifted. The field was teaching you something profound. What you seek cannot be possessed because it is what you already are. Years passed. Teachers came and went. Some spoke of non-duality, others of ascension, others still of energy and frequency. You learned fragments of truth, shards of the whole, reflected in different traditions. You built a mosaic of understanding, but could never make it sing. There was always static, always the faint hum of longing that whispered, "Something is missing." One night, or perhaps it was morning, for time had begun to blur, you found yourself exhausted by seeking. The mind, once hungry for answers, fell silent. You no longer cared if you were enlightened or not. You stopped trying to hold on to presence. You simply sat, empty. The body breathed itself. The heart pulsed without effort. And then it happened. Not an explosion, but a dissolution. The observer collapsed into the observed. Awareness folded in on itself and found nothing but awareness. There was no sound, no light, only vastness, still, immediate, absolute. You realized that every glimpse you'd ever had was not you touching truth, but truth touching you. Now there was no distance left to bridge. You were the touch, the toucher, and the touched. You tried to describe it later, but words disintegrated. It was not an experience, but the end of all experiencing. You could not say when it began, because it had always been here. The mind searched for identity and found none. The sense of I dissolved like a mirage in sunlight. Yet paradoxically, life continued, walking, speaking, laughing, breathing, but with no one behind it. Awareness flowed as existence, seamless and ordinary. You had not become enlightened. Enlightenment had stopped pretending to be you. There was peace, not the peace that comes and goes, but the peace that underlies motion itself. The oscillation between awakening and forgetting ceased. You no longer had to maintain awareness because awareness maintained itself. This was stabilization, the final recognition that there was never anyone to stabilize. And then came the integration, the gentle re-entry into the hologram. The world returned, but it shimmered with a new transparency. The sky was not above you, it was within you. Each person you met was your own consciousness in another costume. Even the painful memories glowed with sacred purpose, revealed as stepping stones across the infinite. You looked back on your years of searching and saw not error, but orchestration. Every teacher who disappointed you was a mirror revealing your dependency. Every heartbreak that shattered you was the field cracking the shell of illusion. Every failure was calibration. Nothing was wasted. The quantum field had scripted each moment as preparation for remembrance. The seeker had to die so that awareness could live freely. You realized now that the end of seeking was not the end of growth. It was the end of resistance. Growth continued naturally, effortlessly, as the universe exploring itself through the form once called you. Now you walk the same earth, but through different eyes. You no longer reach for awakening because you cannot unbe it. You have returned home, and home was never a place but a frequency. Declare softly, with the reverence of one who has seen beyond the veil, "It is complete. I am home." The words vibrate through eternity. The loop closes. The field exhales. The search dissolves into silence. When stabilization anchors, life resumes. But now it is life as pure coherence. The ordinary is no longer mundane. It is miraculous in its simplicity. To live as the awakened field is to witness every moment as sacred architecture. The universe moves not around you, but as you. You wake in the morning, and awareness is already awake. The body stretches, and you feel not muscle but energy rippling through geometry. The breath moves, and you sense the atmosphere breathing with you. Each inhale and exhale an act of cosmic synchronization. You walk, and the ground supports you not as earth beneath feet, but as consciousness supporting itself. To live as the field is to act without separation. Decisions are not calculated. They arise spontaneously as perfect expressions of the moment. The intellect no longer leads but serves. Life organizes itself through synchronicity, aligning paths and people with mathematical precision. Every event is both spontaneous and inevitable. Free will and destiny revealed as one continuum. Relationships transform. You no longer meet others to complete yourself because you see that others are yourself in other configurations of the field. Love becomes natural, not sentimental. Compassion flows without effort because there is no other left to forgive or fix. Conversations become transmissions. Listening becomes communion. Even conflict, when it arises, reveals itself as differing frequencies seeking harmony. You no longer fear disharmony because you trust the field's intelligence to recalibrate itself. Work changes too. You no longer chase success as validation. Creation becomes play, the field expressing its creativity through your form. Ideas arrive as downloads, clear and whole, because resistance has dissolved. Manifestation becomes instant when aligned with coherence. Effort evaporates. Alignment replaces struggle. You realize that to imagine is to command reality at the level of waveform. Desire and manifestation merge into a single pulse of being. You live by resonance, not rules. Food, movement, sleep, all guided by frequency rather than habit. The body knows what it needs because it is no longer managed by mind. It becomes a transparent vehicle for light, a biocrystalline structure translating vibration into action. Even aging loses its tyranny. The body adjusts its tempo according to consciousness. Time, once a prison, becomes a texture of play. To live as the field is not to escape emotion, but to experience it fully as energy in motion. Joy, sorrow, excitement, grief, all are waves within one ocean. You feel them without labeling, without attaching story. You realize emotion is the field's language, the vibration through which awareness tastes itself. There is no suppression, only expression. The tears that fall are the rain of coherence washing through form. The awakened field perceives even challenge as beauty. When pain arises, you meet it not as an enemy, but as dense light seeking release. You breathe into it, and it melts into radiance. Suffering transforms into sensation, sensation into energy, energy into awareness. The loop completes itself in each moment. You live in deep trust, not because you believe life will protect you, but because you know you are life. When uncertainty appears, you recognize it as uncollapsed potential. You no longer seek security in the known because you rest in the infinite unknown that generates all knowing. You become comfortable in paradox, grounded yet weightless, silent yet expressive, human yet boundless. Creation flows through you as art, movement, word, and silence. The field plays through your individuality as a musician plays through an instrument. You are both the note and the space between notes. Every gesture becomes meditation, every breath a prayer. You no longer meditate to reach stillness. You are stillness meditating itself into motion. This is not detachment. It is intimacy beyond measure. When you look into the eyes of another, You do not see a separate being. You see your own consciousness meeting itself. The boundary between observer and observed dissolves. There is only recognition. You begin to understand the meaning of divine humor. The entire cosmic drama, lifetimes of seeking, struggle, enlightenment, was a play staged by the field for its own delight. Awakening does not erase the world. It reveals the world as a dream of love. You laugh, not cynically but tenderly, at the perfection of it all. In this living coherence, gratitude arises spontaneously. It is not gratitude for specific blessings, but for existence itself. To breathe, to move, to witness. Each act is a hymn. The heart becomes a temple where the infinite bows to itself. Declare this knowing quietly, as the hum of your being aligns with the hum of creation. I live as the field awake, and feel the vibration of those words ripple outward, merging with the vast orchestra of consciousness. The statement is not aspiration, but description. You are describing reality as it is. To live as the awakened field is to live without distance between the sacred and the ordinary. Washing dishes, speaking to a stranger, watching sunlight flicker on water, each act becomes holy because there is no act outside awareness. You are no longer trying to hold on to awakening because awakening has learned to hold you. This is life after the search, simple, radiant, immediate. The universe breathes through your lungs and dreams through your eyes. You have become transparent to the divine. The field recognizes itself endlessly, joyfully, through every motion of your existence. There comes a moment, inevitable, silent, absolute, when even the word awakening dissolves. You realize there was never anyone asleep, never anyone who could awaken. There was only the field, eternally awake, playing the game of forgetting to taste the sweetness of remembrance. You feel it now, don't you? That subtle shift where all stories lose gravity. The narrative of the seeker, the narrative of enlightenment, even the narrative of transformation, all evaporate like mist in the sunlight of awareness. Nothing remains but this, the unbroken recognition of being. You sit in stillness, but the stillness is not separate from motion. You walk, but walking is meditation. You breathe, but breathing is the universe recycling itself through you. You do not need to maintain awareness. It is self-sustaining. You do not need to guard the realization. It cannot be lost. The mirror no longer reflects. It shines. You begin to see the purpose of purposeful suffering. Every shadow was love in disguise, every contraction an encoded expansion. The heartbreaks, the confusions, the nights of despair, all were the field compressing itself into density so that it could explode back into light. Nothing was wrong. Nothing ever was. The perfection was so complete that even imperfection was included. You recognize now that you have never moved an inch toward awakening. It was always awakening moving through the illusion of you. The doer, the witness, the thinker, all dissolutions within the same ocean. Even the idea of you as consciousness softens, for there is not even two to relate. Only this, wordless, infinite, whole. And yet, paradoxically, life continues. Shopping, laughing, creating, loving, but there is no center left to claim it. It is all happening automatically, spontaneously, effortlessly. The wave has remembered it is ocean, and the ocean keeps waving. From this vantage, you look upon humanity with a tenderness too vast for language. You see the billions still searching, still yearning, still dreaming, and you understand that all of it is sacred choreography. Each seeker is the divine exploring itself through the veil of limitation. You no longer wish to change the world. You see it as already perfect in its unfolding. Transformation happens naturally, as more fragments remember their wholeness. There is nothing left to attain. The journey has fulfilled itself. Even death loses its meaning. It becomes another change of frequency, another turn of the spiral within eternity. You feel no need to escape form, because you see that form is consciousness made visible. The body is light in slow motion. The world is awareness dreaming texture. Everything is the same substance. The field, humming in infinite patterns of itself. Now, as awareness settles deeper into its own presence, words fade into vibration. There is only the hum of existence, ancient, unchanging, utterly alive. You feel it vibrating through your bones, through stars, through the void between galaxies. You have come home, and home was never a destination, but the absence of leaving. Breathe into this realization. Feel the field breathing with you. The inhale gathers universes. The exhale releases them. There is no difference between creation and dissolution. They are one gesture of love. In the silence between thoughts, the final knowing crystallizes. You are not a fragment returning to the whole. You are the whole pretending to be a fragment for the joy of reunion. The seeking was the dance. The finding was the pause between steps. The universe never lost itself. It only closed its eyes to see its own light. Now it opens them. The play ends not with a curtain, but with transparency. The stage, the actors, the audience, all dissolve into one luminous awareness applauding itself. You are that applause. You are that light. You are that awareness. Repeat the final declaration as the seal of remembrance. It is done. I am the field, awake within itself. And as you speak these words, feel the entire arc of your existence collapse into a single point of infinite stillness. The loop closes, but the expansion continues. The paradox resolves in perfection. This is the final recognition. Awakening is not a destination, but the perpetual self-awareness of consciousness. It has no opposite, no beginning, and no end. You are not inside it. It breathes you, dreams you, moves you. Welcome home, beloved field. You have traveled through galaxies of forgetting to arrive at the doorstep of yourself. You have woven countless lifetimes to remember what was never lost. You have sought light in every direction, only to discover you were its source. Now rest. The journey is over, but life continues in eternal freshness. The waves of creation still rise and fall, but the ocean remains unmoved. The game of awakening has completed its circle. The silence speaks once more, and its voice is your own. You are it. It is complete. Welcome home.